Becoming the luckiest person in your family, at work, and with your friends is not as hard as we imagined it to be.
People think I'm pompous if I answer it the way I would like to answer it honestly. I don't think I need to be nervous. I think they're going to be all super hit films. Now, I would like to explain the lack of arrogance in this statement. That's the belief I sleep with. That's the belief I wake up with. That's the belief that makes me, at the age of 57, go and do stunts, jump, work 18 hours a day. Because if I did not have that belief that at the end of it all, I'm going to make a great product which lots of people are going to like, I would not be able to do it. So it's not an arrogant statement. This is what I believe as I sit here. That I'm not nervous. I think they're wonderful films, and it's a childlike belief that look, I've prepared my best, I've done my best, I'm going to pass with flying colors.
I know, it sounds like magic. It sounds like one of those good things that happens to other people. But what if I told you not only can it happen to you, but that you can activate it and live a magical life with all your wishes coming true? I'm living it, so I'm speaking it. Backed with science, I'm going to share with you the one quality that can make you the luckiest person that you know of. So, how does this one quality of being optimist change so much for us? Optimism or being optimistic is linked to the lucky girl, lucky boy, or the luckiest person syndrome. And that is because it activates something called the self-fulfilling prophecy, which means everything that you wish for comes true for you. So, changing your life by choosing to be an optimist is actually connected to your brain, and it's connected to a feature called RAS, which is Reticular Activating Syndrome. But if we are not naturally optimistic or don't know how to become optimistic, it is something that we can learn and actually put into practice and get better and better and better with time at it, which means more of our wishes come true. You see, when I was in a bad marriage, I kept myself there for 7 years because all I thought was, how will I support my kids? How will society see me? What will my parents think? And what if I fail to get a job and actually stand on my feet? If we analyze these questions, we see not only are they negative, but they're also something that will hold you back because they all trigger fear. And this fear is being generated by our own brain, which is working so hard to keep us where we are in our comfort zone. Because the moment we step out of that comfort zone, our brain will have to work. So whenever our brain is presented with a situation to take a chance or take a risk, it will always choose comfort unless we train it to be more of the kind which will take risk and actually be more optimistic to live a better life. Because left to its own, our brain will always choose what it knows and what it's comfortable with. Yes, you have fights, but it's okay. After the fight, things are fine. Yes, you don't have joy, but hey, you have wealth. Yes, you don't have that family feeling, but you have the comfort. You do have the protection of a home. So it will always find reasons, and it will show you those reasons and trigger the fear in you and keep you where you are in your current comfort zone. For us to break out of this comfort zone, the best quality that we can cultivate and start making our de facto or our way of living is optimism or being optimistic. Faced with all these questions, the day I decided that I am going to change my life, I came up with these. I will reach out to my friends, and I know there are some who will extend their home to me. When I changed the way I was thinking, magic started setting up. While we see this as magic, the fact is that when we see my plan, it is rooted in practicality. It's analytical, and this is what is called pragmatic optimism, which means you're not wishing for insane things, or it's like saying I will go from 0 to 1 lakh salary. It typically doesn't happen. You have to still work a little bit before you can start getting a higher salary. Same thing for me to go from being a housewife looking after children to starting a new life. They were going to be smaller steps, but those smaller steps will get you to a point where then you can have incremental growth. But it's important to be practical about what we are planning for ourselves. That's what makes a difference in a failed plan and a successful plan. A good plan is rooted with pragmatism and good analytical thinking. And this begins very simply by training our brain, by pushing our brain to actually start thinking from solutions. Instead of presenting us problems, start presenting us solutions. And then priming our brains to believe that these solutions will work. This thinking becomes our belief, which means we start believing that we can do it. And that is where I started my journey. It began with, I will do it. It not only changes your internal chemistry, it makes you more braver, but also magical things start happening in our brain. You see, then this belief starts influencing how we think, how we behave, and what action we take. This we then follow up by setting real goals for ourselves, goals that we can write down so that we are laser sharp focused on what we want to achieve. You see, if we revisit the Rubina of those years and had fears overtake her and kept her there for so many years, the shift really began by saying, I can do it and I will do it. And that began by informing my friends about it, by informing my close circle about it, by instead of sitting and moaning where I was, I started scanning where can I get a job, what kind of job can I get, okay, if I can't get this job, can I apply for something lower, just what can be my first starting point. And for me, what I did was I marshaled the things that I knew. I was great in English, I was very good in communication, and I was very interested in medical sciences. I used to actually edit medical documents, my first starting point. That led me to the next step where I started working with a bigger firm. Then I learned technology while doing all of this, and then that finally opened the doors to me working in a technology firm. Now, if you told me when I was struggling in a bad marriage that you will one day work for a technology firm, that you will be able to go out one day and, live a life, and that I will be able to support my children and myself, my brain wouldn't have let me believe that because it did not know that reality. It cannot comprehend that reality. So it will say, I don't think that's going to happen. We are more comfortable in this house. Let's just stay here. This is all right. It's not so bad. And it'll find reasons to make you believe that where you are is not really so bad. So always guard what your brain is thinking. And so when I got my job and my goals were very focused, within 3 years of me stepping out, I bought my first 3-bedroom apartment in Bangalore. It seems like magic today. It seemed like magic even then to some people, but really what it was just conditioning your belief, making sure your actions and behaviors are in line with your belief, and then setting laser sharp goals. And all of this begins by cultivating pragmatic optimism. The belief that only good will happen, that things will work out, that you will overcome, and that the universe, the world, your support system will come and support you in achieving your goals. So remember in the beginning I mentioned RAS, Reticular Activating System. Our brain actually takes on our goal and then starts working for us. What happens in the background is that RAS, which is a set of neurons, acts as a filter on how we interact with the world around us. You see, you can try how RAS works for us without us even knowing if on your way out of your drive, you would home into one thing, zero on into one thing and say, I wonder how many more of these are there. For example, if you're on a drive to your office and you start focusing on the red cars, how many red cars are there on the road that day? You will find more and more red cars, and you can try this with any color. The same thing happens with us. When we set our RAS to certain sharp focused goals, our RAS actually starts filtering out the environment for what we need. To give you an example, when I started focusing on building my new life, I needed support not only in a job, but most importantly, I needed a support system which could help me not only physically, but also mentally to let me know that yes, you can do it. And I started meeting more of those people. And this is no surprise to all of you who are here today. Some of you might actually have been waiting for a video like this. Some of you might be already in your journey, and having this conversation with me, meeting me, might actually help you. And that is because Your brain is looking out for you. And so for me, I came in contact with so many people who had similar stories like I had, and from them I drew strength. It was like, oh, if they can do it, if they could achieve this coming from nowhere, or if they could overcome the circumstances that they had, so can I. That was one thing. The second thing that happens is these people are able to open the doors, are able to help you because they know where you are and they know how it is done. They've already done it. You see, whatever you're going through, somebody's already gone through with it. Somebody's already done those things. Interacting with those people, getting help from those people actually has the potential of making our journey easier and a little more smoother. Learning from other people's journeys, learning from other people's mistakes, learning from other people's wisdom. And so when we meet strangers, our RAS actually works in nanoseconds. It is able to scan other people's faces and kind of understand where this expression is coming from, what this person has probably gone through. It does a quick sorting of all of that and draws us to these people or to the situations where we can learn from or we can benefit from, because that is what it is set for. It is set for making us sharp and focused on our goals. This lot of people ascribe as magic, where really what it is your brain working at your command and not against you. And setting our RAS right increases the likelihood of positive expectations being fulfilled. The more these positive expectations get fulfilled, the more stronger our beliefs become and the more optimistic we become. And our self-fulfilling prophecies start coming true. I'm sure you've experienced those times where you've gone into a situation, gone into work and say, though, I'm sure things will get bad, things are not going to work out. And those days, though, that's exactly what happens. Not only things go wrong, things unexpected start going wrong. That is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you prophesize for yourself that only good will happen, only positive will happen, that things will work out for you in the end, that's exactly what happens. That is why it's called self-fulfilling prophecies. What we believe for ourselves generally will come true. And for me, life took a 360 degrees turn. I got a job, I was traveling abroad, my kids were well settled, we were earning quite well, and then I realized that this is really a formula that I've actually executed. Because remember, when I began this journey and change in myself, I was like how most of us are. I did not believe I could. But when this formula worked for me, I said, can I now try it on to find the love of my life? Can I now try it out to find true love? Because I was very clear that I'm not going to be spending my life alone. I'm not built that way at all. And that's exactly what happened. So I began by first writing down all the qualities that I wanted in this person, in this true love that I was seeking. Setting positive outcomes is very, very important to start this new process. Along with that, the conditioning has to continue. And so setting that belief in motion is very, very important. Having that confidence in our abilities that we are going to be able to achieve what we are set for also makes us or shifts us to a more positive zone. I had to work really hard in making sure that the last few years of struggle didn't show on my face, hadn't changed my core personality of being somebody who's joyful, loves fun, and is innately very kind at heart. I had to work at getting those out, setting the belief that I am good enough to really deserve the best. Belief on its own cannot do much unless it is followed on by action. And I had to take that action. Sitting at home every day was not going to get me to that person that I was looking for. So the action that I initiated was I started going out a lot more, I started meeting newer people, and that kind of increased my chances of meeting someone new and my RAS to work harder to get that person out to me, to start filtering out people and, home on to the person I was looking for, because the RAS was set by the positive outcomes that I set at the beginning of this exercise. You see, good gets us better. Better gets us the best. So making sure that the people I was with were only those who were kind, who were gracious, who had seen life, who were full of wisdom, who had walked the path that I had and had come out in a better situation, really helped me in staying grounded in my beliefs and making sure my actions were very aligned. So it's very important to make sure that you set a positive environment for yourself. What that positive environment would be really depends on what your goals are. And through this journey of setting beliefs and following up actions and changing our behaviors, there are going to be a lot of times where we are going to get distracted. Our brain loves comfort zone so much that it will suddenly, out of the blue, pull you back to old patterns because that's what it finds the most comfortable. And so it's not surprising when you meet people and you find that the second partner also turns out to be as bad or maybe just a little better than the last one. That's because our brain will de facto keep pulling us back. It'll keep getting distracted. And so it is so important to keep the focus and not let distractions take over, which means you do a course correction every time you see that you're getting pulled into older patterns, an older way of thinking, older beliefs, older actions, older behaviors, or even the older set of people who tend to pull you down. So every time you catch yourself having lost focus, it's important to reset your RAS, recheck your belief, align your behavior and action, and really revisit and sharpen your goal all over again. It's a formula. And consistently applying these principles or this formula, we can harness the power to create a positive, productive, and fulfilling life. A lucky girl's life, activating the lucky syndrome and becoming the luckiest person in your family, among your friends, at work, and in life. I don't know if you noticed, I did not once use the word hope. You see, hope means that we think it might work out. But being pragmatically optimistic means we believe it will work out. And in that will being the activating word, it is there where we can actually activate the self-fulfilling prophecy for ourselves. There is a practical framework that we can apply to get pragmatically optimistic in not only our relationships but also at work. How do we get our teams to get more pragmatic? How do we become more pragmatic? How can we set our relationships? How can we become a parent who brings up children who are more pragmatically optimistic? If you'd be interested in that, let me know in the comment section. That's where I'm going to meet you.